to the first ever Doug's Championship Series. It's Johnny Paprika here, and Hamish and I are going to bring you games 1 and 2 of the series between the weak prescriptions and the Union Jacks today. I've got the Listerine handy because it's time to put my foot in my mouth. We had no system in place to decide who gets home field advantage in the championship. Sure, we had decided that if a 1 seed faced a 2 seed, the 1 seed would get it. But the top seed has made it from both groups, and I'm going to go ahead and speak for Hamish here, but we are not smart men. Hamish especially. We forgot to plan for this situation. So we're going to have a good old-fashioned trivia off. Representing the weak prescriptions, it's one of the highest performing players in the tournament thus far, Ray Durham. Here's the prompt. You have 10 seconds. Name as many characters as you can from Toy Story.
But, JT and Woody and Ninner, and, the Willies.
Okay. I think I heard one in there. Nice work. And representing the Union Jacks, it's the projected starter of Game 3 and Danny Cox. Danny, same question.
Let's go play catch.
Who, me?
Let's go play catch.
You. Yeah, screw it. Let's do it. I'm excited. Union Jacks win and get home field. So we're off to Canada to get this thing kicked off. Dave Winfield is up, and Hamish, get my newspaper because that's a big fly. Prescription's up early, 3-0. Derek Jeter adds on in the top of the third. Did you hear about the Lou Reed vinyl that has a locked groove so you could hypothetically listen to just this hissing feedback forever if you wanted to? Well, much like this ball, it's deep, but I don't think it's playable. It's 4-0 prescriptions. Oh, all right. That was a deep cut. Look, we're close to the off season. I need some time to refresh my catchphrases. Bill Daly having an excellent day on the mound for the prescriptions. He's held them scoreless into the bottom of the fourth. Union Jacks finally get on the board, but it's going to cost them 2 outs. That makes it 4-1. Prescriptions are trying to tack on in the fifth. Jeter's on second with Piazza at the plate. How many times have we called these guys' names in the playoffs so far? Well, Piazza delivers again with a hit, and Jeter's around third trying to score. That's Tom Brown in center field, and he's got him. That keeps the score at 4-1. And in the top of the fifth, we get a reminder about why they're called the weak prescriptions. Hugh Nickel, walk. Tom Brown, these boots were made for walking. Bobby Thompson, and that's just what they'll do. That brings up Dave Brain, and all this guy does is get huge hits. That grand slam gives the Union Jacks a 5-4 lead. With everything that this guy has done, I've scoured the internet looking for an interesting anecdote to tell you about him, but there's just not much there. My next stop was to look at his birthplace, Hereford, England, and that place was equally as boring as the man, but whatever. We'll have to pay homage somehow. What I lack in anecdotes, I'll make up for enthusiasm. Alright, so here's some Hereford facts. They are home to the famous breed of Hereford cow. It used to have a castle that rivaled Windsor in size, but it was later dismantled. Henry VII's grandfather was executed there. They had a soccer team that was so bad it went bankrupt in a country where soccer is king. I guess that's sufficient. Let's get back into the action. It's the Union Jacks tacking on now. Runners on the corners. Harry Smith is on third, reaching on Bill Daly's 6th walk of the night. Walks didn't seem to get in their way during the group stage, but they are looming large tonight in the playoffs. Hugh Nickel singles, bringing Smith home. It's 6-4 Union Jacks. In the top of the 7th, Ted Lewis has to come off the mound for the Union Jacks. Decent night, only giving up 4 runs in 6 innings, but he needed 109 pitches to do it. So in comes Danny Cox. Apparently no one's concerned that he's going to be starting Game 3, but he's less effective here. Brett Butler and Derek Jeter reach, and it's Mike Piazza yet again. Butler comes around to score, and here comes Jeter around third. He scores as well. Game tied. Prescriptions aren't done. It's Dave Winfield, already having hit a 3-run home run, and this time it's a double. 7-6 prescriptions. A passed ball makes it 8-6. I hope you enjoyed your stay in the game, Danny Cox. He records 2 outs, gives up 4 hits, 2 walks, and they all come home to score eventually, resulting in 6 earned runs. The weak prescriptions tack on an additional 2 to cap off a 6-run 7th inning. To add insult to injury, Dave Winfield goes yard a second time in the 9th inning, capping off an absolutely massive night, and that's good enough to put this one to bed. Winfield ends his night at 3 for 5, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, and 3 runs scored. The Union Jacks proved they can hang with this team that's only tasted defeat once in the entire tournament. But Danny Cox lost control of this one, and the weak prescriptions did not squander that chance. We'll see if the story is any different in Game 2. Hamish?
Hamish Hamden here, ready to call my first championship game. Folks, I've attended the 1997 Scottish Challenge Cup final. I was at Game 3 of the 2021 Minor League Single A Championship, but nothing compares to the atmosphere of this simulated matchup. The weak prescriptions took Game 1. Can the Union Jacks bounce back? Let's give the occasion the respect it deserves, skip the jokes, and dive right into the top of the first. And already there's action. Bases loaded, no outs, and Jim McCormick is in trouble. However, Jim was the first Scot to ever play in the majors, and I'm sure my countrymen won't let me down here. He was a bar owner, so what's on the menu? Traditional haggis, neeps and tatties. Haggis has 3 legs, Bottomley has 3 strikes. Out 1! Neeps are turnips, and Winfield flying out is a turnip for the books. Out 2! And tatties are potatoes, and as Brown catches this in centre, Matthews is potato. The inning ends with no score. So what did we learn there? You learned what haggis, neeps and tatties are, you learned McCormick came to play today, and you learned that after more than 10 videos with these teams, I'm really struggling on the puns. McCormick isn't struggling though. After that first inning, he hasn't allowed another hit, and even here in the 4th, he's looking as good as every single one of his handsome and beautiful countrymen and women. We just saw Bottomley strike out, Winfield fly out, and Matthews fly out, so let's see... Bottomley strike out, Winfield fly out, and Matthew... Oh! A strikeout instead. Didn't see that coming, did you? McCormick has got 12 outs in a row since that first inning jam, so can his offense give him something to work with? So let's take a look at the Union Jacks offense for the first time today. Bottom of the 4th, and Rex Barney on the mound has had a pretty easy day so far, but like COVID, just when you think you've got it under control, bam! It's the Tomicron variant. Tom Brown doubled to lead off this inning, and a walk has meant Dick Higham has a chance to start the scoring. He only averaged 2 triples a season in his career, but he legs one out here, and that's going to score 2. After being starved of runs, the Jack finally realise the meaning of life is runs, and they start to overeat like Mr. Creosote. First, George Hall singles to make it 3-0, and then an error by Bottomley makes it 4-0. Bottomley is having a mare, 2 strikeouts and an error so far. A couple of minted strikeouts finally end this run explosion, and we move to the 6th for something completely different. And by completely different, I mean the prescriptions finally getting a hit. They're down 5 at this point, a sac fly extending their deficit, but Jeter doubles and that's their first man in scoring position since the first. A wild pitch gets him to 3rd, but it's Bottomley at the plate. As mentioned before, Bottom is struggling today, and mail or mail not come through. But beep beep Richie, he puts it in play and Bottomley scores. The scripts are on the board, but still trail 5-1. McCormick may now be flagging. He's still in as we move to the 8th, and like someone flying round the board in Monopoly, it's back-to-back doubles that bring the weak prescriptions right back into this one. First, Jeter makes it 5-2, then Piazza puts aside any Big Apple rivalry to make it 5-3 and take another bite out of the lead. At this point, it would be wise to take McCormick out of the game. Every unwritten rule of baseball says so. You have a 2-run lead, he's pitched 8 innings, and he's due up to hit. Bring in a pinch hitter, go to your closer. However, McCormick is mental. He's downed a bottle of Buckfast and he's not leaving this game for all the munchie boxes in Glasgow. So the Union Jacks have no choice but to let him hit, and hit he does. They'll be dancing in the streets of Rafe tonight as the Scot makes it 6-3. He then runs to collect the ball as he wants to do it all. He's now on the mound to close this out. Strikes out Durham, his 13th of the game. Strikes out Zeal, his 14th of the game. This is going to go down as one of the all-time legendary simulated baseball performances of all time. Strikes out... Wait, no. Stricker ruins the narrative by getting on, and after 153 pitches, McCormick's arm may be about to fall off. The entire team is needed to drag him off the mound, and Chalmers comes in to save this. Unfortunately, Butler doesn't follow the script and jeeves one into the outfield, and that scores a run to make it 6-4. But Jeter grounds out, and that's... No! Error! 2-run score! The game is tied, and while the official scorer puts that on Chalmers, remember that's George Hall at first, who has already made some suspicious errors this tournament and was banned for betting. Did he bet on this game going to extras? You may think that. I couldn't possibly comment, but this 5-run lead has collapsed like a house of cards. Let's go to extras, tied at 6. Top of the 10th, and George Chalmers is furious. He had a save, his team was about to win, and now he's been charged with an error he believes is Hall's fault, and he's still pitching. You do not want to be facing this man right now. Winfield strikes out. Matthews strikes out. Durham strikes out. Anyone who sold him haggis strikes out. He storms off the mound glaring at his team, daring them to mess this up in the bottom of the 10th. Thompson doesn't want to face the wrath of Chalmers and does his bit with a single. George Hall is hit by a wild pitch, but given it's Hall and Marmol, it's 50-50 whether that was to complete a betting slip or just ineptitude from the pitcher. Either way, Harry Smith bunts them over, and so with no outs and a man on third, can Cogswell win the game and tie the series? It's in the air. Is it deep enough? Like an overzealous kindergartner, Thompson tags like his life depends on it, and scores! The Union Jacks win it 7-6, and like the Jones boys in the Nazi basement of Last Crusade, this series is all tied up. Story of the game has to be Jim McCormick. The crazy bastard threw 153 pitches, and despite not getting the win, his 14 strikeouts would tie him for third most in a World Series game if you consider this series to be the equivalent of a World Series. And we do. We also now know that we're guaranteed a Game 5, so we'll be back on Wednesday with Games 3, 4, and 5. How is it possible to fit so much excitement in one video? You'll just have to join us to find out. Until then, the Dugs are closed.